Trump is praying. The world is asking why. 1 week ago, Donald Trump was all swagger, confident, attitude, the look of a man who believed he had just won. Khamenei was dead. Iran's top commanders were gone. The White House was celebrating. But something has changed, because the images coming out of the White House this week show a very different Donald Trump, a quieter Trump, a Trump sitting with pastors and priests, hands folded, eyes closed, praying. And the moment those images went around the world, the questions started. Is this genuine faith, or is this the sound of fear? Because here is what happened between last week's celebration and this week's prayer session. Iran fired back, hard. American F-15s fell from the sky. Iranian missiles reached Netanyahu's office. The Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway that carries 20% of the world's entire oil supply, came under Iranian control. The dollar began to shake. American markets felt the tremors, and on the streets of Washington, New York, and Los Angeles, the anti-war protests began. So the world is now asking a question that cuts straight to the core of American power. Did Donald Trump just make the same catastrophic mistake he made with Venezuela and apply it to a civilization that has been surviving empires for 3,000 years? Let us be precise about what Trump's playbook actually is. It is not complicated. He has used it before. First, bankrupt the country with sanctions. Then, turn the population against its own government. Then, remove the leadership. And then install a government that answers to Washington. He tried it in Venezuela. He tried it in Bangladesh. And each time it looked like it might work. So when he looked at Iran, he saw the same formula. A population exhausted by sanction, inflation destroying ordinary families, young people frustrated with the regime, and with Khamenei gone, he believed the whole structure would collapse like a house of cards. What he did not account for was that Tehran is not Caracas. Iran is not a country. Iran is a civilization, one that has been invaded, sanctioned, bombed, isolated, and has survived every single time. When American missiles began falling on Iranian soil, something happened that Trump's intelligence analysts completely failed to predict. The internal resistance, the young Iranians who had been protesting against their own government just weeks earlier, suddenly stopped protesting against Tehran and started standing with it. National pride, the oldest and most powerful force in human history. The moment foreign missiles hit your soil, you stop fighting your government. You start fighting the foreign enemy. And that psychological shift from internal dissent to national unity destroyed the entire foundation of Trump's Iran strategy in a single night. But let us talk about the real reason Trump is praying. Because Trump's religion is not Christianity. Trump's religion is the dollar. And the dollar right now is scared. The Strait of Hormuz is the most important economic choke point on the planet. 20% of global oil flows through that narrow strip of water every single day. When Iran tightened its grip on that passage, when Iranian forces began surrounding American oil tankers, it was not just oil prices that moved. The entire architecture of dollar dominance that America has built since 1945, the petrodollar system, the reason the whole world is forced to hold American dollars, that architecture took a direct hit. Trump knows this better than anyone. He is a businessman. He understands that if the Strait of Hormuz closes, the American economy does not just slow down, it goes into free fall. Stock markets collapse, inflation explodes, and the American middle class, already struggling with the costs of this war, turns on him. Those prayers in the White House are not for peace. Those prayers are the sound of an economic empire that is beginning to crack, and a leader who has run out of rational options and turned to the irrational ones. And here is where this story becomes something darker, something that goes beyond strategy and economics. On the day American missiles struck Iran, 160 schoolgirls were killed. Not soldier, not military target, not combatant. 160 children between the ages of 7 and 10 in a primary school in Iran. And the missile that killed them did not come from Israel. It came from America. Trump's military has spent decades telling the world about the precision of its weapons, surgical strikes, smart bombs, needle-point accuracy, technology so advanced it can identify a single individual in a crowd and eliminate only that person. So when 160 children are dead in a school, there are only two possible explanations. Either the technology failed or it did not. Either this was a catastrophic malfunction of the most expensive military machine in human history, or it was deliberate, a calculated act of terror designed to break the psychological will of the Iranian population. Under the Geneva Convention, there is no third option. Both explanations constitute a war crime, and yet the man whose military killed those 160 children sat down in the White House with his pastors, folded his hands, and prayed to God. The Bible, that was almost certainly open on that table, contains a warning that seems written precisely for this moment. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. A man with blood on his hands does not become clean through prayer. History does not grade on intention. History grades on consequence, and the consequences of this war are now being felt far beyond the Middle East. In America, the anti-war movement is growing in a way Washington has not seen since Vietnam. Ordinary Americans, not political activists, not college students, but working families, parents, veterans, are standing on the streets of major American cities asking a simple question. Why are our children dying for this? Why is our grocery bill going up for this? Why is our gas more expensive for this? Trump built his entire political identity on the promise that he would put America first, that he would stop the endless wars, that he would bring the troops home. And now he's fighting what is rapidly becoming the most expensive, most dangerous, and most unwinnable war in American history. The irony is historic. The man who ran against the war machine became the war machine, and the population that believed he was different is beginning to realize he is not. That is the real reason for the prayers. Not God, not faith, not genuine spiritual reflection. The prayers are the sound of a man who is losing militarily, because Iran is still standing, losing economically because the dollar is under pressure, losing politically because his own voters are turning against him, losing morally because 160 dead schoolgirls cannot be explained away with a press release. When your smart missiles fail, you call a pastor. When your economic pressure campaign backfires, you open a Bible. When your certainty that the enemy would surrender turns out to be wrong, you ask God for the answer your generals cannot give you. Iran has proved something in this conflict that will be studied and remembered long after the missiles stop falling. That technological superiority is not the same as strategic victory. That the will of a people to defend their own soil is a force that no amount of money or missiles can simply purchase or destroy. And America, for all its power, for all its aircraft carriers and precision weapons and trillion-dollar defense budget, has come face to face with a truth it has been refusing to accept for decades. You cannot bomb a civilization into submission. You never could. So the question that history will record is this: when the account is finally settled, when the war ends and the world counts its dead, will 160 schoolgirls be enough to make the world finally ask whether a single man in Washington should have the power to decide whether those children live or die? That question does not have an easy answer, but it is the only question that matters now.